want to be, radically transparent. We want to talk about the things that other companies are uncomfortable about. When we're able to be transparent, we win the trust of our community.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Chicago, March 30th through April 1st, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
Since 1948, Linta Roofing has been the go-to roofer for Myrtle Beach and the surrounding communities. Not just because they can replace a roof or fix a leak, but because they built a process that's designed to build trust and take anxiety out of the entire experience. They focus on three big things: transparent education, dedicated supervision, and real-time project visibility. In this episode, our CEO, Bob Ruffolo, sits down with the owner and president of Linta Roofing, Jeffrey Linta, to hear about their journey with Endless Customers and how it's impacted their business. We're also going to hear from Linta's videographer, Hugh Gore, about how content and video play such an important role in building trust with their customers. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Bob, take us away.
What's up, Endless Customers community? I am jumping in here for Alex, and I'm very honored to be with one of the absolute stars of the Endless Customers community. I'm here with Jeffrey Linta of Linta Roofing. And Jeffrey, thank you so much for allowing us to come in and film this episode here today with you.
Yeah, Bob, thank you for having me. Super excited to be here and to just join and speak with you.
And then just so everyone here knows, Jeff is just an incredible entrepreneur, and he's got an incredible story. We're going to dive into that. And we're sitting here in your beautiful new building with this beautiful studio. It's really cool what you're putting together here.
Well, I appreciate that, Bob. Yeah, we just moved in here in April, so we're still getting our feet underneath us a little bit in our new facility here, but super, super thankful,
And so, Jeff, you were just telling me, and let's go into the story, how you became CEO of the company, and obviously it's been a while, the last 3 years for you. So if you can share your story with everyone, that'd be great.
Yeah. Linta Roofing was originally Jeff Linta Roofing and Construction, and I grew up in my parents' business, working for my mother and my father. And
50-year-old business.
Yeah, started in Myrtle Beach in 1985, and was originally my grandfather and my father worked together in Mansfield, Ohio. So wow. Even dating back further, but here locally in Myrtle Beach since 1985. And my father was a general contractor. He did a little bit of everything. Primarily roofing became his focus, but it was windows, siding, gutters, additions. And I grew up working for my dad. Summers in college and after I graduated, coming back to work for him full time, did a little bit of everything from actually roofing for several years and doing additions, working on teams, to eventually selling roofs. I always joke I got promoted by a storm. We had a storm in 2018, and we had so many calls. My dad said, "Hey, you're going out and doing the repairs. Why don't you just go ahead and go up front instead of me going, and then we can try to manage some more of the calls a little easier." And I had a customer who really needed a new roof, helped them see that, and buying a roof, and they said, "Hey, well, I think you're better at this than doing repairs for us. We're going to have you start going and meeting with customers." Yeah. And so flash forward to 2021, I was doing the same thing for them, and unexpectedly, my dad got sick. And so in 2021, after coming down with COVID, had complications, went into the hospital in November 2021, and ended up passing in February 2022.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And so it was a whirlwind experience. We were a much smaller team at the time. My mother, my father, myself, and just a few other team members were on our team, and we're ran out of my parents' upstairs bedroom. And so Dad not being there created a lot of turmoil. Us trying to be there with him in the hospital while keeping the day-to-day operations of the business going was a little hectic. And so on the other side of that, after Dad passed and trying to decide how are we going to move forward, we decided to just drop all their trades outside of roofing to focus specifically on roofing, to try to create clear systems, clear processes. We're an EOS company, and at the time decided to bring EOS in
Which we love that you're doing EOS.
Yes, and learning from a business coach of mine that I had met many years prior, and who had always suggested, hey, when the time's right, this is something for you guys to look into. And so implementing EOS was a part of that process, but I got to see my father and my mother own the business, and also how the business owned them in some ways. As most family businesses, that's kind of the environment. And so that was part of the reason we decided, hey, in order for us to grow, we need to focus more clearly on a trade, and we need to, one specific trade, we need to implement processes, and we need to start to look for solutions on how to grow and how to grow our brand awareness in the local market. And so,
which makes a lot of sense. So, when we talk to a lot of companies that want to do endless customers and they want to grow, what matters so much is having a great business, a great run business, a business that has something valuable that customers actually care about and want. And I think that's what's been the key to a lot of your success is, and I'm sure EOS helped with that, what are we going to focus on? What are we going to be the best in the world at? And how are we going to optimize everything we're doing around that? You have the best warranty for anybody in the Myrtle Beach area, which is important. I mean, people are buying a roof, a very expensive investment. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to make sure that they're protected. So, I think as we look at, just like you can't put lipstick on a pig, like you can't, great marketing is not going to fix a bad business. And you first, coming in 2022, everything was just like crazy in your life, and you got focused in your business, and look what you've done. It's just absolutely incredible, the business that you're building. You're still just really early in this journey. It's incredible to see.
Well, we're learning every day. Super thankful for the people that we have on our team, for the guidance that's around us, and when it comes to building an amazing product, that's got to be at the forefront. And so us narrowing down, hey, how can we offer something unique that our competitors don't? And ultimately that looks like us offering our own in-house warranties that allows us to offer longer extensions for those warranties. We have more control over the process, and ultimately more protection for our homeowners. We see that as an opportunity to say, hey, if I were a customer and I'm buying a new roof, if I have the knowledge of a roofer behind the scenes and I have the desire of a customer, how can I meet both of those? I know that us providing those warranties will provide more protection for our homeowners, and ultimately be able to offer something that our competitors don't.
That's great. So right, all right. So 2022, you started EOS. Walk me through what was on that VTO and how you saw endless customers fitting into that.
So our 10-year vision is, in regards to just revenue, is to be a $30 million business. That looks like serving 1,500 independent homeowners on an annual basis.
Oh, wow.
And so that's an ambitious goal.
And how big was the company? You said it was just a handful of people. So when you set that core target, how big was the company?
So at that time, we were serving around 250 homeowners a year. And we had 6 people on our team.
Wow. So it's 3 years later, where are you now?
And so 3 years later now, we'll be around $8 million in revenue, and we're going to serve, we should serve around 450 people this year. That's just in our replacements, including repairs. It'll be more like 1,100, 1,200 people.
That's impressive growth, but it's also manageable growth, right? You're not growing too fast. You're still able to deliver what you're promising to all your customers at a high level.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So how did you see endless customers fitting into that model?
Just one of the biggest realizations I had is we have an amazing product. Our customers are incredibly happy with our services. We've got people that are going out of their way to leave us reviews to recommend us. Not enough people know who we are. And so, how can we continue to build brand awareness, build a presence, and be known in our market as the market leader? And so, while I grew up in the roofing industry and I know roofing, I didn't have those answers.
Well, and when you started this journey, I mean, what would you, if you had to estimate, okay, there's a lot of competition in this area. We're talking Myrtle Beach, right? A lot of competition. If you were to say, where would you rank in terms of when you started in 2022? Were you the top 10, or were you less than that, would you say?
In regards to companies, I'm always going to, in regards to market share, I would put us top 10, definitely top 15, but closer to top 10.
And you've risen significantly.
I would say we're definitely in the top 3.
Without a doubt. I mean, you can go online, you see the reviews, you see what people are saying, and the rankings. It's just incredible. You definitely are positioned as definitely, I would say, probably top 2 based on what I saw. But that's incredible. That's great. So endless customers. That was the goal, is to get more known, get more trusted, get more customers. You've done a lot of that, and again, just having a great company was really just fuel for that. One of the first things you probably did in your journey was build your marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about that. That was probably a big investment for you, because probably scary, right?
Yeah.
You were also probably young. You were probably like, I'm going to take whatever risks I possibly can, but it paid off. It paid off for you, and it was certainly, I'm sure, a scary moment to start investing in adding all these new people. So talk me through that.
And so I have a story that I believe a lot of business owners share, is that I tried to outsource marketing and hire agencies, bring them in, and ultimately ended up being not effective.
Yeah.
And so, trying to work with different agencies, trying different approaches, and eventually getting to the point where, I'm not sure what that next solution is, and discovering They Ask You Answer, reading and really resonating with that messaging, saying, I believe that we could do that really well. And so that was really the starting point for us to work with Impact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you're such a good guy. I mean, you just tell I'm sure everyone watching is like, you can just tell Jeffrey's just like a really good guy. He means well. And I think that's the approach you brought to every piece of content you created. I just want to be honest. Mm-hmm. I want to be transparent. I want them to know, because I don't want them to make mistakes. So I want to educate them. It's right. The first thing on your homepage, you're talking about, we're going to be the most educational roofer that you ever meet, right?
Yeah.
And you take that very seriously. And I think that has shown in every piece of content. And I think you definitely have educated the market more.
We want to be, radically transparent. We want to talk about the things that other companies are uncomfortable about.
Yeah.
Shine a light on the things homeowners really want to know the answer to. Price. How much is this really going to cost me? Why aren't contractors talking about their pricing?
Yeah.
And so when we're able to be transparent, we win the trust of our community. And ultimately, if someone doesn't align with what it is that we have to offer, we're not trying to hide the way that we do business. We want everyone to know that, so that way we can work with people who are saying, hey, I see Linta as the right option. And even sharing content like, hey, when we're not the right fit, sharing content saying, these are the times that Linta Roofing may not be the right fit for you. And so communicating.
You're not the cheapest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, communicating at that level of transparency, we have seen has built trust in our community, that we're going to tell them the truth, even if it doesn't necessarily benefit us.
Yeah. And we were just talking about a possible addition for your homepage. Are you cool if we share that a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
I would love to see you guys in your hero area have the link. We talk about this all the time in Endless Customers, and Marcus shared, he says this on stage all the time. Mm-hmm. You have to address why some companies are so expensive and why some are so cheap.
Yeah.
Especially in a market where you have probably hundreds of competitors. I mean, you have the bigger companies that you probably compete with more directly, and then you have lots of people that are just one person with a truck.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people that probably don't do things the right way.
Yeah.
You guys do things the right way, and that is not the least expensive way. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to see right in your hero area, get your free estimate, and right below it, why some companies in this market are so expensive and why some are so cheap.
Yeah.
Go over there and then you can explain warranty, you can explain quality materials, you can explain the talent that you bring on, and the way you treat your employees. Because that is something that's important to people, and how you are always on time, and but not just like position you, but why companies that are more expensive, they offer these things that are valuable. And if you don't have, we've all had bad experiences, you can easily connect people back to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a huge range when it comes to pricing and what's out there. From extremes of ownership by large private equity groups, to where pricing and the close rate really becomes their leverage to grow as an organization, to the gentleman that's just getting started, and that while they have the best of intentions, may not be making the right decision for their business, for them to be around to help you later if something arises. Yeah. And so understanding the balance between those two extremes is important for homeowners to know, and we want to educate them on topics just like what you're talking about.
So you're producing a ton of content, and we're sitting in this beautiful video studio, and you have your videographer right over here.
Yeah.
So talk to me more about your team.
Yeah. So our marketing team specifically.
Yeah. Yep.
So yes, our marketing director, Scott, does run all of our advertising in-house. Hugh, our videographer, who also runs our social media. He's creating all of our content for our YouTube channel, the Roofing Resource Channel.
And Hugh does an amazing job. Your videos are just fire, dude.
Absolutely. And as well as Jesse, our content manager, who is doing our written content, who is looking at our webpage and helping us to optimize.
And you're producing about how much content a given week or given month?
Yeah, so per week, 3 written articles, 3 long form, and 3 short form and 2 long form in regards to video is where we're at this moment.
And that is a lot, and obviously we talk about why it's so much, but from your own words, why is it so important to be creating this much content at that cadence?
I would say the main reasons it's so important is frequency. When we've got a following, we want to stay top of mind. We want to continue to add value, but also to test what do people really want to know about. And so once we start to gain traction with a piece of content, we're able to say, hey, why were people interested in this? What problem did we solve? What did we answer? And then how can we iterate that? How can we answer more questions like that? And so, it's for the testing as well as for frequency to make sure we stay top of mind.
And you have hundreds of articles, probably hundreds of videos at this point. They pretty much answer as many questions that you could think of at this point that buyers would have before buying a roof. And you probably still have a backlog of like, hey, we need a piece of content on this, a piece of content on this. We want to create a video on that. So it really just never ends. And obviously the most efficient way to do that is just bring all that in-house. And the agency just can't do that anywhere near as efficiently as having an in-house team could do it.
Not answer the questions really well. That's what we've seen. And so you have to have that industry knowledge, which takes real time and investment and creating a process around capturing all that knowledge. And when it comes to content, it's not, like you said, we have hundreds of articles. We're not short of ideas. We've got plenty more. It's just about choosing those right next things to talk about and then capturing the knowledge that we have here, with our experience in the market.
So what wins have you seen with content? I mean, have people found you and said anything to you about the content you produced?
People mention to me personally, all the time that they see us more and more frequently, that our presence has absolutely grown.
Because you're in a lot of the videos. Which is, I think, really important that you actually, at the face of the company, is sitting here educating. That's awesome.
Just going first and figuring out what is this going to look like for us as an organization, just because we didn't have anybody to spearhead that effort. So that was the objective, is to figure out what this might look like, and then to bring team members on that are much more effective than myself in their roles.
That's great. Good. And so what other wins have you seen? So how about, you've obviously used a lot of this content as part of the sales process.
So in the sales process, it has helped just speed up our sales cycle. There's certain questions that homeowners always ask. So finding a way to present that information before we ever get out there to get those questions answered has helped build trust for those customers. And customers that are learners that want all the information, they love those resources because they're then able to be educated to make a decision when we arrive. And it's just helped make the process smoother.
It's incredible. I mean, you've done all this in 3 years. I mean, you really you built an entire company in 3 years.
Well, we've got a foundation that my mother and father set that is incredibly valuable. They have done amazing things for this community, and I'm just thankful to get to continue the hard work that they've done. And so this is just a next step for us to grow, provide really amazing quality work. And this has just been a vehicle for us to reach more people, create more value for our team here, and to serve more people in our community.
That's great. So what's next for you? Like, what's the next 2 or 3 years look like for Linta Roofing and for you personally?
For us to continue to grow in this market, we specialize as a residential roofing company, so we want to continue to grow in residential roofing. We want people to know who we are, to see the unique things that we offer here, and ultimately provide more value.
And you were very honest with me, like, hey Bob, like, we're still on the endless customer's journey. We are not at our goals yet. And it is a journey. It takes time. You have to continue to work at it. And being the most known and trusted brand in your market, especially in a competitive market, you want to be the most recommended brand, the most known brand. That takes time, but you're doing it and you're staying consistent to it. I know you guys continue doing your planning sessions. You guys are working together as a team. You have your backlog of content and continue that going. So you're well on your way. And we were looking at your competitors' benchmarks today too, and you're flying through the ranks, dude. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see what you guys accomplish in the next few years. I'm excited as well, and we are gaining momentum, and it's been exciting. It's been exciting to be a part of this, and I'm excited to see what will come of the work that our team has done. And like you said, this really takes time, and by time, years of building a brand is not something that happens overnight. So that consistent commitment to doing something for your community, providing value, answering questions, being radically transparent is what, over a period of years, is what's going to allow us to be seen. Not look at me, but hey, here's something that I think might be valuable to you. And that consistency and repeated behavior over years and years is what's helping to build us as the most trusted brand in our market. And I hope you guys continue to use the scorecard too, as we're going through it. It's like can we still be addressing price better? And I think
Yeah.
the answer is always yes. Can we have more tools on our website that can address price better and get better estimates? Now you're going to continue to work on that. You just mentioned you started with HubSpot a year ago. You're still getting your whole tech stack up and going. That's new for you guys, and that's going to be
Absolutely.
exciting when that all takes off. Your website can continue to be optimized. There's so much more you guys can do
Yeah.
by staying focused on the principles of endless customers. So it's
Yeah.
going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And you're just tell us a little bit about your family too. Now, you're such a good family guy.
Yeah. So my son Grady, he's
Yeah.
9 months old now.
Adorable.
Oh man, it's been amazing. He's our first, so learning new things every single day. It's just given me a new lease on life, a new view of the world, and I've done more reflecting I think I've ever done just since my son has been born. And so it's been incredible, man. I got to see even recently some photos of my father with me, at 9 months old, wearing the old Jeff Linta Roofing and Construction logo. And then we had a Myrtle Beach home show earlier this year, and I was with Grady, my son, us just wearing our Linta Roofing gear, and man, just getting to think back, what was Dad thinking at the time, and what was he experiencing, and it's just given me a new viewpoint and perspective, and so it's been a joy to just grow as a family.
I wish I met your dad, but I'm very sure he's incredibly proud of you.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
And is Grady going to be CEO of this company someday?
I will see. Well, I guess he will see. If
sure
that's
it's up to him.
if that's something that he's interested in, I would love to, just walk with him, and that would bring me a lot of joy. And if he's in pursuit of different things, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. And so, there's so many ways to just gain value from life. It doesn't have to be in business as a vehicle, but I personally believe that just business is a vehicle for people to grow as people, not just to be better servants to their community, but to be better fathers and husbands. And when we can learn accountability and teach it, and we can be passionate about the work that we do, then we're going to be a better part of all of those different aspects of life. So I believe business is a vehicle to help people grow and to just create value around them.
Since 2022, the company's obviously grown a lot. So tell us how the company has grown.
Yeah. 2022, the number of customers we serve was right around the 600 mark.
About how many employees did you have back then?
So we had 6,
Yeah.
right about 6.
Wow.
Might have been 7 at the time, and 3 of those included my mother, my father, and myself.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah.
And today?
Yeah. We've got 21 employees, and we're going to serve right around 1,100 people this year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It's crazy how many more people we've got to reach in this community, and it's been a joy.
All right, so you read the Ask You Answer. That was the previous name for Endless Customers. Obviously,
Sure.
It's been renamed. And you decided not to do this just on your own. So you read the book. It made sense to you, but you decided to now go with coaching through Impact. So tell us why you made the decision. Tell us about your experience working with our team.
Yeah. There's several reasons, and one of those things is, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You can read this single independent resource, but there's so many layers to actually applying those principles and bringing it to life. Having that third-party accountability to say, hey, it's easy without that to go a little ways, not see the results you're looking for, and change direction.
Yeah.
But having that accountability, someone that's coaching you, saying, hey, this is the right course, you're just not where you need to be yet, there's absolute value to that. And so that was definitely valuable for us, and also gaining that extra layers of insight as to what the application of these principles really look like.
Yeah, and it's a lot of companies know the book Traction, they know EOS.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies will say, okay, I could read that book, that makes sense, I could do this on my own. And they never actually get the benefits of it because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And they miss things. And Endless Customers is very, very similar. So kudos to you to say, okay, listen, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to go all in on it, and we're going to make sure that we minimize as much opportunity there is to fail and just do it the right way.
Yeah.
So, and you worked with, on our team, Brian and Lindsay.
Yeah.
So tell us the experience you had working with them.
Yeah, they're incredible. In so many ways, just from their technical understanding, so many layers deeper than I do, as well as their just ability to coach our team, to help us make decisions on who to hire, who to bring on, how to hold them accountable, what will the roles look like. All those things were answers I did not have, and so they were incredible coaches and very available to me, and they were just awesome to work with.
That's great. And so just describe the working relationship. So obviously, there's coaching sessions, there's trainings. What was it like when they were working with you, and what was it like when they were working with your marketing team?
Yeah, so working with me was more of a high level. What are the independent teams working on? does the coach feel like our team member is having the success that they should be having? And then us really curating, hey, if not, then what are the steps we're going to take to get them up to speed? And if they are, how can we continue to improve and to optimize that? And then on the independent level, as those relationships were technical and strategic coaching on, hey, what is your role specifically doing? What is the best way for this to be effective? And really, how can it be measured? All great marketing is measured. And so how can we measure as much as possible and put a number to the investments that we're making?
So Jeffrey, tell me about the content you're creating. Like, what topics are you talking about? Obviously, we know the big five, and is that primarily what you're doing for your content strategy?
Yeah, it's some of the most impactful articles we've written are articles comparing some of the most used products in our market. And so we're a big GAF market, and the HDZ shingle is a very popular one. And so us comparing that to all of the different shingles in our market. And so those have been the one that gained the most traction for us because people want to know what are the problems with GF-HTZ? What about GAF HTZ versus Atlas Pristine Pinnacle? What really are the benefits and negatives to using either shingle? Because neither is perfect, but being transparent enough to really call out the things that work well for even the shingles we install and the things that they don't work well for. Being transparent, people trust that content, and ultimately it's been super valuable for us to.
And you're measuring that. You're measuring how many people are reading these articles, how much revenue might be coming from these articles, how much these articles being brought up in sales conversations. Like, I saw this. Were you surprised that people cared that much about different types of shingles?
Yeah. Part of me was absolutely to say, hey, people are really going deep, and also to recognize myself as a buyer. That's the type of buyer that I am, so I could resonate with someone who is going to say, hey, I want to get an understanding before I make a decision. And so, very much what you teach is that 80% of the buyer's journey is had before a salesperson is ever communicated with. I am that buyer, and so if I'm calling somebody, I'm almost ready to buy, and I believe that really is true for a lot of buyers.
That's great. That's great. And then also topics, we're obviously talking about price. So how are you addressing price? Like, what are some maybe particular articles or piece of content you've created around that?
Yeah, we're communicating about price as much as possible, whether that's pricing by products or material type like metal roofs or standing seams, cedar, tile, or even versus repairs, things that may seem more nuanced. And so, initially it felt like a challenge to, hey, how do we pin that down, right? How do we put a number to that? But ultimately, we give pricing to our customers, so we need to use that same context to provide that information online. And so it's definitely been valuable for us, being willing to communicate those numbers.
Jeffrey, thanks so much for having us in today. This is an awesome conversation. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bob.
So here at Impact and with the Endless Customer System, we often talk about the importance of having an in-house videographer. And that's how it makes the magic of Endless Customers happen, especially when we're talking about the second pillar, show what others are not willing to show. And I'm here with one of the top videographers in the entire Endless Customers community, my friend Hugh from Linta Roofing. Hugh, welcome.
Hey, nice to be here. Thank you.
So Hugh, we're going to talk really more for videographers today, and getting into an internal marketing team and embracing the Endless Customer System. So let's start here. You saw a job posting. You have a history of being in video and a videographer. What did you notice about the position that made you want to take a position like this?
Yeah, so kind of before starting here and everything and just kind of getting into more of a marketing role as a videographer, I came more from a journalism background as far as just a lot of advertising as well with like TV commercials and stuff. So more of like an advertising based background is what I had. And so kind of wanted to step out of that and lean more in towards a better way of doing videography that wasn't just 30-second ads all the time. And came into this role. I knew Jeff and everything just growing up and everything. So I kind of knew a little bit of what to expect out of this role, just as far as talking with him and everything. But really, the whole process, the interview process that I had going into this was getting more and more knowing about this impact that he was using and everything like that. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Got to meet Lindsay that way through the interview process. So right even before I started, I was kind of understanding where this place was trying to go with marketing.
So what did Jeff say to you? Like during I guess he was recruiting you at that point.
Yeah.
What was he saying? Hey, I need somebody to come in and this is what we're trying to do here at Linta.
I came into it definitely with a mentality of like, this is just going to be a lot of ads, a lot of promo. And he went more of the listen, we want to be as educational and transparent as possible. And that's where I was trying to get to as far as a videographer role, telling more of a story and educating people. I think more of just like being able to help people understand what they're getting into, especially with roofs and everything.
Yeah.
Starting here, I had no idea, no clue at all about roofs or just the systems, materials, everything like that. So I was learning as much as, you know, customers were, which I think kind of helped me as far as understanding what to look for in content.
And that's often a common benefit when you bring somebody that's not from the industry or doesn't know what the business does. They come from it with a very curiosity lens, and just like a customer would, like, what is this? What is that? When you're in the business so much, you're using the industry lingo. You have the curse of knowledge. But you coming in, you didn't have that, so you're resonating with the buyers more.
Yes, no, absolutely. And with that in turn, you're asking questions that maybe are overlooked as far as people that are in the industry that often and everything. So definitely came into that. And Jeff, as far as just kind of showing me that, listen, we got this place or this company that's working with us to kind of help get this marketing and sales team together and show that a revenue team works well together when everyone's on the same page, is understanding why content is so relevant, especially from a video aspect. I think, you know, everyone nowadays is getting information from video. And we see that all the time in just any walk of life. I mean, you just doom scroll on TikTok and a lot of stuff is more informational now. And trying to understand, I think for me, Jeff was definitely pushing towards like, this is what we're looking for as far as the next step for how we're going to reach out to people, reach out to customers, because we see our customer base is using these, using YouTube, using Google all the time, asking these questions. And then for me, coming from just an advertising heavy background, it was a lot of people would come to us for asking what kind of commercials like they want and what they want to say and everything. This opened my eyes a lot to looking at maybe the back end of things and what customers are actually Googling and looking for in that sense. Lindsay did a really great job of just showing me a lot of tools and everything like SEMrush, a lot of AI as well, that can really help you understand what's being asked right now. What are the trending things going on right now as far as your local area as well. You know, a lot of things that are happening weather-wise in Myrtle Beach may not be happening more in like the Midwest. So really being able to tackle exactly what's being asked about in your area is something that Impact really helped me understand on how to research that, how to look for that. And in turn, your content resonates with what's being asked. And, you know, like your 80% videos that I work on, a lot of stuff in our revenue team meetings, our sales team is coming to us with, this is what people are asking us, and we'd like to see more content around that. Well, perfect. Let's tackle that.
So you had read the Ask You Answer. I imagine that was one of the first things that was assigned to you when you took the position.
Absolutely.
So, and obviously that's the prior edition of what's now called Endless Customers. So when you were reading that book, what were some of the things that really stood out to you? Like, oh, I can see how a business can use this.
For me, and it's one thing that at Linta Roofing we talk about all the time in our content, is 100% transparency. Being upfront and honest about even the things that maybe you are a little uncomfortable about talking to as a customer. Whether that's, you know, price increases for us, materials are always increasing. There's never been anything as far as roofing material that just shown downward. So we always tell people right now is going to be the best time, like not even trying to be salesy, but just essentially being true about that. And then being honest about like, there are things that we do that maybe don't make us the right customer for you. And I think that opens a lot of people's eyes to like, oh, that's a lot of trust that they're trying to build within the community. And I think that's where we take it, you know, our content that we work on. It's not just entertaining, it is entertaining. There's a lot of things that we do, you know, as far as that and making it fun. But at the same time, we're trying to educate people and make sure that people understand that we're trying to safely provide for the community rather than just trying to make a quick buck. And I think that speaks well into the content that we are always trying to push out.
That's great. So what does your day-to-day look like right now? So you're producing about how many videos in a given week or a given month?
Yeah, so as far as social media, we're trying to push out relatively like 3 to 4 short form contents a week, and then about 2 long form. I work very closely with our content writer, and any articles that we're working on in our SME interviews. I'm typically hands-on with that as well, being involved in those interviews to make sure that whatever we're talking about in those or whatever we're going to discuss in our articles is going to resonate well as videos.
And you're doing everything. So you're scripting the videos.
Correct.
You are filming them. You're doing all the post-production, all the editing.
Yes.
And you're publishing them.
Yes, we are uploading them YouTube. We're uploading them to social media, as well as making sure that they are published within our articles on our Learning Center as well on our website.
And do you do the actual optimization of them too? Picking titles, thumbnails, everything?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of helping out with that, as far as I do use some AI as far as helping me maybe generate the correct thing, the descriptions, but mainly helping me kind of make sure that it's SEO friendly and it's going to be something that it's using keywords that people are looking out for.
Yeah.
Making sure that that is in the descriptions, make sure your chapter and your videos and everything, because people really look out for that kind of stuff, especially when you're doing long form.
And obviously the Selling 7 plays into this. So
absolutely.
How many? Most of these videos you're producing around the Selling 7. Or are these different big 5 articles you're doing?
Yeah,
big 5 videos?
I would say leaning more towards into the big 5. A lot of material comparisons, things like that, reviews we go into a lot. We do heavy on cost. We like to make sure that we are transparent about cost.
Yeah.
And so that plays in a lot to a lot of our 80% as well, if we're going back into like the Selling 7 and everything.
Yeah.
The 80% deals with a lot of cost, because that tends to be what your customers are asking for.
Yeah.
Pricing and everything is something that we push into, especially with like our call to actions as well. We want to make sure we will give you an honest price and understand that, this is why we are pricing things up the way we do.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And on-camera performance is another thing. So you have about 15 or so people that work here,
Yes.
and a lot of them are appearing on camera for the very first time. So how are you working with the staff to make sure that they feel comfortable on camera and look good on camera?
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. I like to do a lot of run-throughs as far as, just working with them on the script. I'll usually generate something that I will bring to them before we've even recorded, just so they can kind of get an understanding of what we're going to talk about, what we're going to say. I try not to lean more towards we're going to say this word for word. So that's what a lot of people tend to want, is they'll come in and be like, okay, I need to know exactly what I'm going to say. What do you want me to say? Can we cut it, sentence by sentence and make sure that I'm saying like verbatim what's on here? I'm like, no, that's not the point.
Yeah.
I try to get people more comfortable with the conversation part of it. And so we'll come out and I'll have the questions and we'll just talk through questions. Kind of like what we're doing right now, but more I'll be behind the camera asking, and then just kind of let them talk to me, but in turn just talking straight to the camera.
That's great.
And that kind of gets them used to it. And then obviously, we're not looking for perfection out of this. We're looking more for genuality. And just making sure that you're genuine on camera, because that's what's going to resonate more with someone watching, rather than making it seem like it is extremely scripted. So keeping it conversational is definitely something that helps. And it's practice. Getting them in front of the camera multiple times, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. You get uncomfortable just interviewing and stuff like that. But it's just a matter of repetition, matter of just making sure that it's okay to mess up. It's okay to fumble over your words a little bit. There's going to be times that happens. But it's, that's pretty much what that looks like.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you went through our coaching program, our training program. At the time it was the Ask You Answer, but it's very similar to the Endless Customers Coaching and Training Program. And you were working with both, mostly Lindsay?
Lindsay and some Brian as well.
Some Brian. So walk us through that journey. So when you first started with them, what were the things you were working on in the beginning, and then as you became more advanced, how did your training shift?
Yeah, so kind of going back to just from the interview process, for me, Lindsay was involved in that. So the coaching just starts right from the beginning for me. She was kind of giving me a lot of understanding on what that expectations are going to be from a videographer, as far as maintaining a rhythm of how much content you're going to get out on a weekly basis.
What you've maintained even as you've finished the program, you're still doing. That's great.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things. Everything that you're taught and coached, and going into this process as well, but just everything that's brought up to you, as long as you maintain it and you make sure that you keep up with it, it will show results, and it does show results. But just kind of going from the beginning, getting implemented, kind of working first thing, just on what's your outline going to be, what your template's going to be for your videos. Just trying to structure the understanding of what kind of videos we're going to be making, selling 7, big 5, going through those. And then as well as just the video 6 and going through the segments that every video should take and the successfulness that these steps will show as far as people are going to be engaged. And everything that, as far as the framework that Impact gives you as a videographer, just maintain it and it'll show results 100%.
And especially early on, as you produced work, you sent it over to them and they gave you feedback.
Absolutely. I was sending, on a weekly basis, I was sending what I was working on, starting off with like bio videos for the sales guys and everything, sending those over to Lindsay, just getting feedback on those, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it and everything. And it's one of those things Lindsay was very good about good criticism, constructive criticism.
Lindsay's tough though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But she has a high standard.
That's what. Oh man, when you got something back and it was phenomenal, it made you feel good.
Yeah,
it made you feel
She's
good.
not gonna give out too many of those though.
It's like yes, yeah, absolutely. But no, she was very hands-on with that approach, and just from a creating video aspect for her, just the background and everything was very helpful. And that's one thing I've noticed just with Lindsay, with Brian, just all the coaches. Very knowledgeable in what they're coaching and how they coach, and they make it very easy to understand the process that Impact brings in, and then just how it's going to be best implemented in your line of work and your line of business. But yeah, starting with those kind of bio videos and just like your beginning understanding of, like for me, I've never ran a YouTube channel before starting here. I've helped put videos on channels for other businesses, but it hasn't been like
your
managing.
Channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so coming to that was a new monster for me. And Lindsay really helped me understand just what to look for, how to tag things on the back end with SEO, like going into descriptions and things like keywords that you want to make sure that you say, how you implement things, chapters. Again, going back to like that, those video 6 that I was talking about, she was really helpful in making sure that it was working correctly. Yeah. And again, like I said, if you get it right and you're on Lindsay's right side, those videos are going to work phenomenal.
That's great. That's great. So all right, so you've gone through the program and you're setting the standard for what great video looks like in the endless customers community. What's next? Like, what are you working on right now? What's the big challenge you see ahead for yourself?
About to say, one thing we're working on right now, and one thing we've just noticed as far as engagement, especially on YouTube, our content does better on location. We do have a nice studio and we do record a lot of things in here as far as educational purposes. And we've just noticed that it does tend to resonate more when you are engaged on location with something and you're very hands-on with what you're discussing.
Yeah, especially anything trades. It's so
Absolutely.
great when you see the person and explain what they're doing while they're doing it.
And that's one thing I've noticed, just especially, roofing related, it's if you can be on a roof discussing exactly what you're talking about, it's going to resonate a lot more than a talking head that you're going to cut to B-roll about and everything. Yeah. But that's one of the, I would say challenge, but it's a good challenge. And one thing we're doing about that is just me, Jeff, and a few of our sales guys and superintendents on our jobs. They all know and have been coached by me and trained to understand if I'm on site, I'm going to expect to have, hey, talk to me. What are we looking at right here? Yeah. Just with our line of work, we're getting called to do work on roofs because there is a problem. There's a problem on everyone, so there's something to discuss on every single project we're at. So content-wise, we're never going to run out of content. Yeah. And that was one thing I know for me getting into this was like, is there ever going to be a moment where we're kind of like, what are we going to talk about? We've talked about a roof leak multiple times. Like, no, every project's different. There's always going to be some form of content that you're going to be able to pull at any given time. Yeah. So it's endless with what you need.
I like that word, endless.
Endless. Hey, yeah, that works.
Awesome. No, Hugh, you guys are doing an amazing job here, and I'm really proud of all the work that you're doing. So thank you for setting the bar for what great video in the endless customers community looks like, and I advise you to keep pushing the standards.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you for this time, and then honestly, thank you for just everything that I've gotten out of this. It's been very helpful in just my career for being a videographer here and everything. It's really helped give me the framework and understanding to grow this business from a marketing standpoint.
That's awesome. All right, Alex, back to you.
Thanks, Bob. And a big thanks again to the Linta Roofing team for being on the show today and for all the excellent work that you're doing to bring honesty, transparency, and peace of mind to an industry that really needs it. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the show, leave a quick rating or review if you don't mind, and share it with a friend who could use the Endless Customer System to their advantage. As always, I'm your host, Alex Winter. This is Endless Customers, and we'll see you on the next episode.